Greetings and welcome to Unity of Bloomington. It's a beautiful day. So grateful to have you all here, either in person or joining us online this morning. I'd invite the congregation now to join me in speaking our mission and vision statement. Together, we are a heart-centered community seeking spiritual awakening and transformation by deepening our connections with God, self, and others. At this point, I'd like to invite you all to stand to sing our welcome song if you're able to.
There's just one presence, there's just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There's just one power we all can share, one great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waving in prayer, one great power everywhere. There's just one purpose, there's just one spark, burning in our souls like a candle in the dark. There's just one chorus we all can sing, one great power let it ring. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. One great power everywhere.
Thank you. Y'all can be seated at this point. I'd like to invite the congregation to join me in speaking our transition affirmation at this time. Together, Unity of Bloomington is generating an abundant future in expansive alignment with Spirit. We lean deeply into truth principles, live our faith, and trust the process. Our greatest desire is to be abundant and attract those who value spiritual growth, including our next right minister. Thank you.
God is the source of all I see.
God is the source of all I see.
God is the source in me.
God is the source in me.
God is the light in which I'm seeing.
God is the light in which I'm seeing.
God is the light in me.
God is the light in me.
God is the mind that I am thinking.
God is the mind that I am thinking.
God is the mind in me.
God is the light in me.
God is the source and God is the light.
God is the source and God is the light.
God is the mind in me.
God is the light in me.
God is the source of all I see.
God is the source of all I see.
God is the source in me.
God is the source in me.
God is the light in which I'm seeing.
God is the light in which I'm seeing.
God is the light in me.
God is the light in me.
God is the mind that I am thinking.
God is the mind that I am thinking.
God is the mind in me.
God is the mind in me.
God is the source and God is the light.
God is the source and God is the light.
God is the mind in me.
God is the light in me.
Thank you, music team. That one always sets the tone really nicely for a great day. Today, our mystic moment today is from White Eagle. who was a Native American tribal spiritual leader. When you enter into the light, you feel that your whole being is brought into harmony by the divine power and the glory which flows from the true, heavenly state of life. When you have learned to dwell in the light of the Father, Mother, God, you will live in this consciousness. Even though you are using a physical body, once you have touched the glory of the God life, you know that your true being is in this eternal light. Within you is the light, the creative power, and it is the development of your soul, your spirit, which is the purpose of your life and which will make you perfectly whole. Turn it over back to the music team.
I love with the heart of God within me. I sing with the voice of God within me. I trust in the peace of God within me. Everything praises God within me. I know with the mind of God within me. I pray with the faith of God within me. I trust in the power of God within me. Everything praises God within me. I am a safe and loving place, a beauty and amazing grace. I laugh with the joy of God within me. I shine with the light of God within me. I am who I am 'cause of God within me. Everything praises God. Everything praises God. Everything praises God within me. Everything praises God. Everything praises God. Everything praises God within me.
Thank you, Phyllis, for setting the tone. Hopefully raised everyone's vibrations. We're feeling great now and prepared for what's to come here. It's my honor, my privilege to introduce one of my favorite speakers here at Unity, Reverend Karen Williams. Reverend Karen is delighted to speak once again as a member of Unity of Bloomington. She's an ordained minister in the Christian Church and is actively leading the spiritual program in the Pride Community Center in Spencer, Indiana. Prior to retiring as a manager with the city of Phoenix in Arizona 9 years ago, She was an educator at the Salvation Army Training College in Chicago and a supervisor and director with nonprofits. She enjoys bird watching with her wife, Wendy, and traveling the world. More importantly, she is an avid student in A Course in Miracles and strives to be a light worker in the world. She lives in Ellettsville with Wendy and their 2 cats. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Karen Williams.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Luke, and thank you, music team, and Phyllis, and for all that you do. And I'm delighted to be here again this morning. And I want to thank the spiritual leadership here at Unity for letting me speak again. So thank you. And also one other thing I need to and want to sincerely thank you for is many of you have had wonderful thoughts, prayers, cards that you have sent, and the beautiful flower bouquet that arrived for my mother's memorial service. And it was deeply appreciated, and I thank you for that. One of the things that Wendy, she went on to France, but while I was with my mother for the week that she was in hospice and then passed away. But Wendy managed to put together, having looked through hundreds of pictures, a beautiful presentation of the life of my mother. And so it starts off with her being held by her father, minister, in 1934. And then it showed pictures of her as a young child in her uniform, as she was part of the songsters and the band and other character development programs with the Salvation Army Church. And then on to being a young teen, to a young bride, then 6 children, 16 grandchildren, 19 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild that was named Rosemary after my mother. So when I looked at that, and I think everyone was pretty moved, she had about 100 people at her service. All those grandchildren, how can you not? But it was an amazing presentation that reminded me of my mom, the way that I remember her as a teen or even as a young adult, and you just kind of relive those different times in one's life. And as I thought about that, I thought about Ecclesiastes. And King Solomon, who writes this wisdom literature, he actually calls himself the preacher, meaning just one who's assembled or convened a group. And he starts off in Ecclesiastes with just the words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem, vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all its vanity. But I think the chapter you probably are most familiar with is to everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. It's the most depressing thing you can read, really. He was depressed. A man that had the greatest wisdom, but he was depressed. He was basically saying, this is the way it is when you live under the sun. And he actually uses that phrase about 29 times, I think, in Ecclesiastes, under the sun. He was very much making a distinction that there is a light that we live in under the sun. And that light is actually, when you read in Genesis, is actually created on the 4th day of creation. And that's the point where the creation of the sun, the moon, and all the lights of the sky. Well, the great sages would always make a distinction upon fourth day light, and first day light. And that's what I want to talk about this morning. See, under the fourth day light, under the sun, where you and I live, there's always a contrast. There's light, there's darkness, there's war, there's peace, there's healing, there's sickness. And basically, under the light of the sun, everything dies. That's part of what Solomon's asking. He's asking, what's the purpose in life here? And he searches it out, and he's kind of coming to the conclusion it's all vanity. What he's really saying is that under the sun, everything will die. There's a time and a season for different things. And under the sun, in that contrast, in that duality, that's the point where you and I are choosing. We have a choice. Are we going to be at peace with a situation, or are we going to be in conflict in a situation? Are we going to try to do the best we can, or are we going to try to do the least we can? We're always making these choices as we live under the light of the sun. And those choices actually come from our heart. And we have that ability to make that choice. But if you contrast that in how Genesis starts in the Bible, or in the beginning, that's what it means, Genesis, the beginning, that in the beginning, in other words, time's beginning to flow, God created heavens and earth. And then it goes on in that third verse, Genesis 1:3, that God says, let there be light. And it was good. So when you really look at that, it's telling us that the source behind that first day light, that divine light, is only good. It's really at that point that is our beginning of our real true nature of being, or a consciousness. Let me talk a little bit about modern science, because I think modern science is finding itself in a very interesting place. It's a story that would not have been told the year I was born. And that is that about 13.8 billion years ago, there was this little dot. That's it. A little hot, dense state, a dot. They don't even know how to describe it as scientists. But they'll say that that dot actually inflated. They'll call it sometimes the Big Bang. Now you hear scientists say it was neither big nor a bang. One, nobody saw it, and nobody heard it. But it did have an inflation rate. And the scientists will tell you in a microsecond, it inflated in space at a rate of a factor of 1,000,000 billion billion. What that means is that from that little dot, that expansion in space ends up being the entire cosmos. In that cosmos are some gases of helium and hydrogen, and there's some cooling, and sometimes in cases of the stars, which is predominantly light, if they ask what was it that expanded, they'll come back and say it was super beam of light. And that from that light, then were these hydrogen, helium, and then pretty soon some of it cooled, and you get a little bit heavier elements like carbon and iron and calcium, all those things that you and I need to exist and have our being here in the physical form. And what's fascinating to me is that they basically will say that some of those combinations, the ones that we're most familiar with in physics, which is H2O, you might not be able to list the other 92 elements, but most of us know the combination of H2O is hydrogen and oxygen to have water. Well, that landed then on Earth. And with Earth, though, came this other mass and material. And eventually, fossils become a part of on the rock. Wendy and I live around the corner is McCormick Creek State Park, If you go to the waterfall and start looking at the rocks, you can see all these fossils. It's kind of cool on the rocks there. And if you go to Tanzania, they'll tell you that you can look at mud flats, and 3.5 million years ago, somehow, they began to get upright and walk, and you can see the footprints in the Tanzania mud flats. So what does all this mean? Well, there was a man, quite a genius. He didn't use his intellect, but he used his imagination. And he ended up saying, if you take this energy and you look at energy, it will equal the mass times the speed of light squared. Now, if your head starts spinning, don't worry, okay? It's going to be okay. But the speed of light is every second you're moving 186,000 miles per hour. That's how fast it is. You're going 186,000 miles in a second. So what he was saying is, Einstein, that when you look at this matter, if you can't quite figure out the combinations, what it is, though, is, and it's in its equivalent, is energy. So what the Bible's telling us, really, is in the beginning, at the time when they begin to note how time flows, the beginning, the God created heavens and earth. Is actually, the Hebrew word for God means the God of divine wisdom. They just dropped it because if you and I were going to translate it into English, it would have been the God of, and of course we would have said, well, the God of what? So they just dropped the word of in the English translation. But if you look at it, it's Sophia. Remember Reverend Dr. Hall, who spoke about this infinite wisdom? Well, that was the Sophia. That's the God of that. In other words, there's a divine order in all that is created. And what's behind that dot? Scientists will just say, we don't know. Because most of them would commit academic suicide if they start talking about God and a consciousness. But some are coming out and saying, there is something that came from this nothing, and guess what? We think it's a consciousness, a cosmos mind. And from that mind, from that consciousness, there is this expansion to the point where now there's 8 billion people here on this planet Earth. The reason I'm talking about this is the light of the first day. So when we say God is in everything, we literally are saying we're pure potentiality and energy is in everything. It makes perfect sense. Even the science is coming out saying that what expanded was light beam, super being light. And you can then match the consciousness of anything if you're at the same frequency. Science will tell you that. You could put your hand through this chair if it wasn't for some kind of electromagnetic repulsion. In other words, I'm not matching the frequency of that chair, so when I hit it, it's going to hurt my hand. But if I can match the consciousness, I become the tree, I become the butterfly. I become not only the object and the subject, I become everything in the space between. Because God is in everything. God is everything. And when you live in that light, what do you got to worry about? Nothing's boring. How could anything be boring in that kind of light? And that's where people who are able to live in that light, they just say everything is for the good. But you see, under the sun, we look at it and we think, not so good. There's a different light. It's a different level. It's the divine awareness of this divine presence, this consciousness that is in and about and all around me. And I'm going to just tap into that. And Jesus comes along, who understands first day light, divine light, because he says, I'm the light of the world. But then he goes on, and he says, and you're the light of the world, and you're the light of the world, you're the light of the world. What he was saying is all that light that's in me and around me and all about me is the same light in and around and all about you. So what does he say to his followers? Don't worry. That's what he says. Don't worry. Why would he say that? Have you been around anybody that had low energy? They're lethargic, listless, spiritless, lackadaisical. I mean, it can be tough to be around someone with really low energy. Jesus is basically telling his followers, when you worry, guess what? It zaps your energy. It dissipates your energy. And guess what? Your pure energy, your pure potentiality. Why would you worry? Don't let the fears get to you. Be the light of the world. Shine out that light. And how do you do that? He basically says, good deeds, kindness. Keep the light. Don't let it flicker. Sometimes he was so bright that he actually had to kind of dial his light down. So when he met people, he was wonderful at just saying to them, now on where you are in your consciousness is you're a blind man, you've never seen anything. But you felt the dirt and you felt water. So why don't you mix up a little bit of mud and put that on your eyes, and then when you put that on your eyes, you can relate. And now you're healed of your blindness. You see what he did? It's wonderful. He was saying, I'm going to meet people where they are in their consciousness and in their beliefs, and I'm going to help them. So sometimes he would tell them to do something tactical because it made sense to the person that he was meeting with. But overall, he says, this is the first day divine light that has created you and me. And you can do even greater things than I have ever done. Because you can learn your pure potentiality, and what a wonderful thing. I had to wear my total solar eclipse shirt. Actually, I was dressed in something different, and Wendy said to me, Karen, you can't talk about the light and wear black. And I thought, yes, I can.
But not all black.
So I just want to mention that under the sun, how many of you saw the solar eclipse here? Did you have to put on some funky glasses, dark glasses? So just think, even living under the sun, that fourth day light that you'd get in Genesis 1:16, that you have to, even then, you can't just look just at the sun. It's so bright that you still have to have some protection. So can you imagine if looking at the first day light? We couldn't do it. Our physical eyes could not. We can't even hardly handle the sun. And if you just keep looking at the light of the sun in the world that we live in, this earthly world, wow, you're doing really, really well. If you're just choosing the light, choosing the goodness, choosing the peace, choosing the abundance, opposed to the scarcity. Oh, you're doing really, really well. But we can also see the divine light. And there's a wonderful, I'm going to end with this, that in the book of Exodus, Moses, who is chosen to lead the Israelites from Egypt to a promised land, so basically out of their own bondage into a freedom of a land, recognizing the God to which they were following. And so Moses is most concerned about, but can I know your divine presence? And he's like, God, I just want to know your divine presence. And this was so important to him that there's actually a lot of instructions about how to build an Ark of the Covenant, to which they put the tablets of the Ten Commandments. And the reason that Moses wanted that was so that people could physically see. They need, people aren't the brightest, they're pretty dense. And so people need to see that this represents a divine presence, that God, you haven't forsaken us. So there's a lot of chapters about how you build this Ark of the Covenant. Well, it was for that purpose. But he's having a conversation with Moses, who he then says to Moses, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This is God talking. You see the rock, because you're on a mountain. You see that big rock there? You see the crack in the rock, the cleft of the rock? I'm going to put you in the hollow or in that space. And I'm going to put my hand and cover, because you can't see my face, because it's too bright. There's too much light for you. You can't see it. However, I'm going to put my hand, you're going to be in the rock, like in a little cave. I'm going to walk past, and then I'm going to remove my hand, and you can see the light from behind. Isn't that beautiful? You know what he's telling us? At least to me. You can be looking at something and it can look pretty dense. This is really a hard situation. Look for the crack. Look for the crack in the rock. Everything will have a crack because everything has the light. It is everywhere. There's nowhere you can go when there's not light. So in the darkest, dense, most hard situation, look for the crack. Because at first you're going to look and you're just going to look at a situation and you're going to say, oh, that was the past, they did this, they did that, or probably this is what's going to happen in the future. You see the projection of, from the past, you're jumping forward to the future. God say, no, look just right now, stay in the present right now. And if you stay in that present and you look for the light in the situation, I will show it to you. Because I'm going to pass by and you're going to be able to see from behind. Exodus 33:22. If you look up a scripture, circle that one. I've put you in the crack of the rock so that you can see my presence. Always. Promised. 100%. Guarantee. Thank you.
From within, I let my heart begin to see eternity turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. From within, I let my heart begin to see eternity turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see.
Today's meditation contains excerpts from A Course in Miracles workbook lesson number 75, The Light Has Come. So let's begin our meditation with getting comfortable in our chairs. Allow your chair to support the whole weight of your body. And let's take a few deep cleansing breaths in through our noses and out through our mouths with a sigh. Another one. And one more. Relax. Stretch. Release any tension in your body. And we're going to connect with an aspect of God, and for this meditation, that aspect is love. So we're going to breathe in love. We're going to breathe it in through our crown, into our heart chakra, and breathe it out to all of our body. So breathe in love, love throughout our body. Breathe in love, feel that love spread to every area of your body, every system of your body, every organ of your body, every gland, every tissue, every muscle, every molecule, every atom. Breathe in love. Breathe in love. Feel the peace and the safety and the healing that love brings. Let love thoroughly permeate your body. Feel love helping you to release whatever is not loving. Feel love push out all unloving thoughts and consciousness. Feel your body become lighter. Feel your consciousness become lighter. The light has come. You are healed and you can heal. The light has come. You are saved and you can save. The light has come. You are at peace and you bring peace with you wherever you go. You are devoted to looking at the world forgiveness offers. The light has come. You do not want to see the ego's shadow on your world today. You see the light, and in it you see heaven's reflection lie across your world. Dwell not upon the past today. The light has come. Rejoice in the power of forgiveness to heal your sight completely. Be confident that on this day there is a new beginning. Without the darkness of the past upon your eyes, you cannot fail to see. We dedicate this day to the serenity in which God would have you be. The light has come. The light has come. The light has come. Now allow yourself to fully soak in this divine light as we go into the silence. And now, let's start to slowly come back. Let's anchor this divine light. Let's breathe this divine light into every part of your body. Let's stretch. Let's integrate this into your body. Let's wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes, and when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. And remember that you can connect with this divine light anytime you want to. You only need to focus on it. Thank you. Namaste.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy.
And as we arrive back in the chapel this morning, back online, feel that place of light, that place of love that Wendy and Karen so beautifully stated for us this moment. And we can only from love turn to gratitude at this point, to be grateful for all that we have and all that we receive. Prepare now to show that gratitude for what we continue to receive. There are several ways to contribute to Unity of Bloomington. Checks or cash are always welcome, or you can use the text to give button on the screen or the donate button on the website. As the offering bags are passed, you may want to bless the bags and their contents. If you're new to us, please fill out one of the blue visitor forms in the pocket of the chair in front of you with your first impressions. Prayer request forms are also available in the pocket. Both of these forms may be dropped into the offering bag as it is passed. I'd like to invite the congregation to join me in speaking together. I am an abundant being in an abundant universe. God is the source or situations for my good. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I consistently give it. I expect the best, I give my best, and I now attract the best in every experience.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Invite the greeters back forward as we bless our offering. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Announcements. All right, it's my pleasure. I'm grateful as a vice president of the board here to welcome a new member. Crystal Ulrey, will you please stand up for us? Welcome to Unity, Crystal. We're going to sing the...
Yep. Yeah. Turn around. And we will bless her.
We bless you. We truly, truly appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you.
All right, we've got a very packed weekend coming up. I hope you all are ready. So I'm gonna go over here some of the schedule for next weekend as we prepare for Reverend Manassa to join us and speaking next weekend. So on Friday, 5 p.m., we're gonna do the food trucks at Switchyard, and of course, all are welcome to go to the food trucks there at Switchyard Park. That's at 5, and then from 7 to 8:30, we're going to do an ice cream social here at Unity. I believe we're going to do that downstairs, correct, Devta?
If the weather's nice, we'll have it outside.
Okay, if the weather's nice, we'll do it outside, and if not, we've got a space downstairs where we can do that. Saturday morning, 9 a.m., Farmers Market downtown. It's a great way to showcase our beautiful community and some of the wonderful things that our community members will grow and share their gifts and talents with the world. 1 to 3 that's when the workshop is here at Unity on Saturday. So do we have any more information on that, Phyllis?
I don't have the title in front of me.
Okay. So it'll be tied in with her talk, I assume, on Sunday. Check the newsletter.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. Always when in doubt, check the newsletter. Great. Thank you, Joni. And then 6 o'clock will be the leadership dinner with the board and the search committee. And then 10:30, of course, Sunday will be our normal Sunday service, and Manassa will be, presenting on next Sunday. And then immediately after the service, we're going to do a potluck luncheon. So there is a sign-up sheet in the back. If you can think of something you'd like to make, please write it down on the sign-in sheet so we don't all bring the same thing. Be great. And then in the afternoon, Manassa is going to be touring and exploring the Bloomington area. So Dan and I already moved the tables downstairs, so I think we got that one covered. And then on Monday, June 17th, the day after the weekend with Reverend Manassa, the board and search team will hold a combined meeting starting at 6 p.m. We would like for you to attend the beginning of this meeting and give your comments and opinions about Reverend Manassa. After about 45 minutes, the board and the search team will go into closed session and plan how to move forward at that point. If you cannot attend this meeting, please fill the form that will be on the website and submit it before 5 o'clock on Monday so that we can have your input available to us at that time. We realize that this only gives you about a day to process things and give your opinions, but we want to make a decision as quickly as possible, and we want to keep this this energy moving forward as we can as we move forward into this. So yeah, as I said before, next week our upcoming speaker is Reverend Manasa Gabon, and her talk will be "Let There Be Light." So a lot of light. It's summertime. Reverend Karen kind of set the stage here for us today, and we're going to continue on into that and see what Reverend Manasa has to say. On June 23rd, our board president, Joni Spain, is going to be having a talk called 3 Points and a Poem. And then June 30th is Music Sunday with Angela Gabriel. So lots of good stuff coming forward. We've got a packed weekend next weekend. I hope you all are able to participate as much as you're able to, and we welcome you and we look forward to that. Everybody rise and say together our prayer for protection at this point. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right, peace song, let's go.